I finally saw Hamilton. Hey guys, it's Jona and I finally saw Hamilton. So many people seem to think that I've seen Hamilton and up until now I hadn't, which is really crazy, and it's even crazier now to say that I have seen it. So I wanted to make a video about my thoughts now that I've actually seen the show that I've been talking about for 3 years. And now that I'm actually sitting down filming it, I feel like I don't know what to say because I'm still so speechless. Also, there is construction going on outside, so if you hear weird noises, that is why, and I'm sorry. So I saw Hamilton. We'll start there. That's a good place to start. Let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. I was so fortunate that my dad called in and got us amazing seats. We were in row A, so like 5 rows back maybe, which was like perfect. I feel like if you're super close, you have to like look up and you don't necessarily see things as well. But when you're farther back, you can't really see faces as well. So I feel like I was in the perfect spot. And there's just so much to look at. You don't realize that until you're there. One thing that I've never really been able to talk about when I make my Hamilton videos is the choreography and the staging. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. The ensemble members really drive the show. And the staging is so impeccable and so thoughtful and so fluid. Like everything just flows constantly, so consistently that there's never a lull. Like it's just go, 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 and it's so fluid. I can't even believe it. And the energy is just unreal. You can feel it as soon as you walk in because everyone is super excited, but then once the production starts, they're giving it right back to you, and it's just like this beautiful exchange of energy, and it's like electrifying. Everyone in the cast that I saw, every single person was phenomenal. At first, it's a little weird because you're so used to hearing like Lynn's voice and Chris's voice and Pippa's voice that when you hear these new voices, it's a little confusing and a little jarring. But once you get over that, and you get over it fast, it's just incredible. It was fascinating because I was like singing along in my head, and then sometimes there would be a note that differed from the note that I knew in my head. It was so unexpected. Like I'm so used to hearing the same exact notes every time I hear Hamilton, and they changed it up and they made me a believer. So I'm going to talk about the cast members that I saw because they deserve love. Austin Scott played Alexander Hamilton, and wow. First of all, Austin is so nice, so unbelievably nice. I met him at the stage door and he was so kind. He made my entire day, my entire night, my entire week. He knew my videos, and that was just super cool.
Lyric challenge.
I'm gonna have to get a selfie with you.
Yes.
Say hi to you. Say hi to YouTube.
Hey, you too. You filming right on.
It's Hamilton.
Can I get a selfie?
Alexander Hamilton.
I loved how his performance differed from like what I pictured. Just from hearing Lynn over and over and over, I think I just had created this vision in my mind, and he was like different from that in such a good way. I loved his performance. It was so thoughtful and so like purposeful. He commanded that stage, and I was blown away. For Eliza, I saw Hannah Cruz, and her voice, what? The emotion in her voice. How? Burn was just amazing. It was amazing. I don't even know what other word there is. All that emotion, it was so much. And I really felt for Eliza. Like, of course I knew this was coming. I know every word to Burn, but it was like I was hearing it again for the first time, and that was so cool. And then, oh my gosh, when Philip died and she screamed, and I lost it. I almost cried. Aaron Burr was played by Josh Tower. This is Burr. He's amazing. And he, wow, I don't know how he does this night after night because I would be exhausted. Like everything with him was at a full 10. There was no in between, there was no dip. He was just like boom, 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 boom. I could see Burr's conflict in him. His voice was amazing, his dancing was amazing. He was just on fire. Oh, Angelica, oh my gosh. I am going to butcher her last name, and I honestly feel awful about it, but I saw Stephanie Umo. I am so sorry, Stephanie, if you're watching this and I just messed up your name. I feel like a horrible person because you were amazing.
Is this the blog?
Yes,
Hi,
yes,
blog.
Angelica
It's my favorite character. Oh my gosh.
And this is my first time seeing it, so
Are you serious? That's
yeah, very
amazing.
first time in 3 years of making videos.
Oh my
So
god.
it made it really good, and I love loved it. And he shook me.
Angelica is probably my favorite character, closely followed by Jefferson, but like, wow, satisfied was everything I wanted it to be, and more. She was so fierce. She was so fierce. In the same way that Austin commanded the stage as Alexander, she totally took control and commanded that stage, and she was so strong and fierce and powerful, and I loved her. Then we have George Washington, who was played by Paul Oakley Stovall, and his notes shook me to my core. At the end of One Last Time, I'm so used to hearing Chris's like little riffy thing that he does, but oh my gosh, Paul did his own thing and he made me a believer. He needs to play Mufasa. I don't know if he's ever played Mufasa in Lion King, but like it needs to happen right now. In the same way that Mufasa just like commands your attention and commands like respect, that's totally what I got from him. I was like, I respect you a lot. Lafayette and Jefferson. Okay. Bryson Bruce, wow. I told him that he shook me and exceeded my expectations, and that is the truth. He exceeded my expectations. He was amazing.
You passed
A little bit. I've been here a few times. So
Thank you for coming and supporting.
I was a little worried that I wouldn't like Lafayette or Jefferson because I'm so deeply attached to David's performance that I was like, well, no one's gonna do it as good. But he did. He was so funny. He made me laugh so many times. His timing was awesome. His comedic timing was awesome. Like, he was just so fun. He definitely brought like a certain amount of life to the production, and I really, really liked him. Mulligan and Madison. Once again, if I mess up this name, I'm so sorry, but Chandra Hall Broomfield.
Oh, hi, YouTube.
I have like 2 million views on my Hamilton videos, but this
What?
was my first time seeing the show.
What? Oh my gosh.
And after like 3 years of videos, so
Let's go, everybody.
yeah,
Yes.
you made me laugh.
Good.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
He was awesome, very articulate, super articulate. Everything was enunciated. And I loved his transition from Mulligan to Madison and the difference there was, because if I hadn't known better, I might have thought they were 2 different actors. And that just shows like the character work he put in. He was so good, I loved him. And just from listening to the cast recording, I feel like I didn't quite get Madison. Like, he was a little bit more funny than I would have ever expected. I loved him with Jefferson. They had a great chemistry. They were so good. Lawrence and Philip. Let me just say, I nearly cried. John Victor Corpez. John Victor Corpez. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so bad with names. Right off the bat, he was one of my favorite cast members. He just captivated me. My camera cut out because it could not handle the greatness of John. As I was saying, the first act, you're like, oh my gosh, Lawrence, I love you, I need to protect you. And then he comes back as Philip and you're like, oh my gosh, Philip, I love you, I need to protect you. He just like made you care about him so instantaneously. He has like a certain sparkle to him that is just so magnetic. I loved him. Peggy and Mariah. Okay, here we go. Issa Briones. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Issa Briones? I'm sorry again. She was amazing, super dynamic. The transition from Peggy to Mariah is just like unheard of. Y'all know I love Peggy. I was so pleased with her performance. She made Peggy so funny. Like I thought it was hilarious, honestly, in Skylar Sisters, how like young and youthful she was. Young and youthful. Great job, Jona. But like you could just tell that she was the youngest and she was like not sure about what's going on and she was so funny. And then she comes back as Mariah and you're just like, okay. And her vocals, I was so concerned because here I am being the concerned fan that nobody could top Jasmine. Nobody could do it as well as Jasmine. Jasmine sings Say No to This and it's like the best singing ever. So I went in to Say No to This like, okay. But she came out there and she was like, no, you're gonna listen to my vocals because I'm a beast. Honestly, iconic. King George, Peter Matthew Smith, he was so funny. I had always heard that King George was really funny and I was like, okay. I mean, his song is clever, but like how funny could he really be? But then he was cracking me up. I was lolling. Especially like when he sits to watch the Adams administration. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you here? And then in Reynolds' pamphlet, he was so funny. I think just like the simplicity of his choreography for his solo songs, like You'll Be Back, he just kind of stands there and does like little subtle things. I think that's what makes it funny. I need to talk about Sean Harrison Jones because he played Seabury, and I feel like as a fandom we forget about Farmer Refuted. I have forgotten about it in videos, like just completely skipped over it. It's a thing that happens and I don't know really why, but seeing it on stage is completely different from listening to it. It's so much more lively and funny than I would have expected. And Sean, he was Seabury, he was so funny. His physicality and like his facial expressions were so good. And it just made me be like, you know, Farmer Refuted, you deserve my love. Honestly though, everyone was so great. It was such a great first viewing of this production for me. After waiting so long, it definitely satisfied me. No pun intended. And I'm so glad that I went. I'm so glad that I stage doored and got to talk to almost all of the principal cast members. The ensemble didn't really come out, but if they had, I would have congratulated them because they were so spectacular. And it was just a really great experience, and I'm super glad that I got to go. Are any of you seeing Hamilton soon this year? If you are, let me know in the comments. I know a lot of you ask me all the time for Hamilton videos, so I hope that this one satisfied you. I keep saying it, I can't stop. I love you all, stay beautiful, you people. Bye!